It's finally here. The RTX 3070. I don't mean here as in available to the public. I mean here in my house, in my studio, ready to be unboxed and ready to be used in my gaming PC. I can't wait. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into it. I can't wait to show you guys this card. And I left it upstairs like a dum-dum. Let me go get it. Well, not necessarily my best intro, but I guess I'll keep it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to E-Rock on Deck. My name is Eric. I go by E-Rock, and today we're going to be talking about the NVIDIA RTX 3070. Now, I'm going to do an unboxing for you. I'm going to have some B-roll going because I fully understand that me just sitting here and taking it out the box isn't necessarily the most appealing thing, but I also want to share with you my first impressions of the card. And speaking of the card, believe it or not, this small YouTuber who is absolutely sponsored by nobody was able to get his hands on a GeForce RTX 3070. And because I'm not sponsored, that also means I had to pay for it out of my own pocket, which kind of stung just a little bit, right? Well, not too much. I mean, $500, it is a lot of money, but when you compare this to the 2080 Ti, which came out just 2 years ago for $1,200, this is the exact definition of what they talk about when they say the word value. And the 3070 is essentially a 2080 Ti, but for $500. It's absolutely incredible the way that they've been able to take that technology and just condense it down to a smaller form factor, a more efficient form factor, and a cheaper form factor. When you talk about value for the customer, this is about as good as it gets. Now, up to this point, I've been using the AMD 5700 XT, and honestly, it's been a really good graphics card up to this point. However, when I initially built my PC, I built it primarily for gaming. I did not have content creation in mind, especially Twitch streaming. But fast forward a little bit, here I am about a year later, and I'm streaming on Twitch. Everything's going really well, except every now and again, I'm dropping some frames. I'm having some encoding lag. I'm having some rendering lag and all this other stuff. And I found out that the best way to ensure you have a great stream if you're only running a single PC setup is to use an NVIDIA graphics card that has the NVENC encoder. When the 3070 came around, I got to saying, you know, it's not exactly what I want, but it is a massive upgrade over what I currently have. And I also have the benchmarks to prove that. So yeah, be sure to hit that subscribe button and come back and check out my benchmark video later this week. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on into this and let's talk about the card. I'm gonna go ahead and unbox it. And like I said, I'm also gonna have some B-roll planned for you guys. So and the very first thing you see in the box staring you in the face is the card itself, the RTX 3070. This card is absolutely gorgeous. I love everything about it. I love the color. I love the design. It's so nice, so nice. And I can tell you right now, the camera is not doing this justice. Yes, I've seen other YouTube videos of it. This is so much nicer in person. It's hard to explain, but trust me when I say this card is absolutely incredible. I'm also very torn now because I had every intention of putting a water block on this card and water cooling it. And now I'm not sure if I have the heart to take it apart and basically mess up this beautiful design. So let me know in the comments below. Should I take this apart and water cool it, or should I leave it air cooled? Either way, I will be liquid cooling my CPU with a custom loop, and I will be putting that on the channel. Would you rather see this card a part of that with a custom water block, or do you want me to leave it as it is and, you know, with this design and leave it air cooled? Let me know in the comments below. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and take the card out of the box, and I'm going to gently set it down. And I want to talk about everything else you get inside the box. So you have a separator that, you know, protects the card from everything else inside the box. And you also have the adapter for the proprietary 12-pin connector, and you have some paperwork. You have a quick start guide on the 3070. You have the GeForce experience, and right behind that, it looks like you have a little bit of your standard warning label and stuff like that, which, let's be real, nobody's really going to read that, right? But now let's talk about the card itself. So when looking at the card, you have the traditional twin blade design, which is something that none of us are a stranger to. We've all seen this design in many other graphics cards. And when you flip it sideways, it looks like it makes the letter S. So starting from the top, and it kind of just goes around. I don't know, almost like it's trying to say, hey, I'm a really super card. When you flip it over, you have the GeForce RTX logo, which unfortunately does not light up. The 3080 lights up, the 3090 lights up, but for some reason, this one doesn't light up, and I really dislike that. I do appreciate them keeping the MSRP at $499, and maybe that was, a part of that deciding factor right there, but I would have happily paid $10 more just to get this thing to light up. So I really wish they didn't cheap out on that. You have the proprietary 12-pin connector, which I have yet to see a person who's okay with this. Almost every tech reviewer has said the exact same thing. They don't like it. It's unnecessary, especially on this card. This card does not have the same power draw as the 3080. It does not have the same power draw as the 3090. Furthermore, all the AIB cards are pretty much not going to use this connector, and they're just going to use traditional 8 pins. NVIDIA is just trying to force this connector down our throats for whatever reason, and honestly, I'm not a fan of it. But what choice do I have? So I'm gonna reluctantly use it, and I'm just grateful to have the card. Now, when we flip it around and look at the back, you have this plastic back plate that says RTX 3070 on it. And again, I don't overly care that it's plastic, but we all know that metal performs better when it comes to cooling. With it being plastic, it just kind of speaks more to them cheaping out on the design and cheaping out on the card just a little bit. And the last thing that I'm gonna say about the card, and I haven't seen it in terms of performance, I haven't even plugged it in yet, but it only has 8 gigabytes of DDR6 RAM, not 6X, 6. And so from the benchmarks I've seen from other YouTubers, that hasn't really appeared to be an issue so far, especially at 1440p gaming. But when you go to 4K gaming and it starts to eat into the VRAM a little bit more, you see the 2080 Ti pull ahead because it does have slightly more VRAM. And so I have to ask the question, what happens in 2 years from now? What happens in 3 or 4 years from now? How sustainable is this card for the future? Will I be in the same situation in a year and a half, 2 years from now, where I'm looking to quickly upgrade because I'm no longer getting enough performance from this card? I hope not. But I guess time will tell. I do kind of wish it at least had, 10 gigs of RAM, but, again, is what it is. My first choice was the 3080, but I couldn't get my hands on it. And I was able to get this, and now that I'm holding it in my hands, I'm in love with it. And I think it's great, and it looks phenomenal. And I can take the money that I'm saving from not getting the 3080 and invest it in other things for the channel. In conclusion, that's my unboxing experience of the RTX 3070. These are my first impressions. I'm gonna shut this video off. I'm gonna pop it in my system, and I'm gonna begin benchmarking. And so make sure you hit that subscribe button to see all the different benchmarks and see how well this card performs. If you're curious to see how well this card performs on stream, maybe because you're thinking about picking it up, then come check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/erockondec. Links will be in the description below. Feel free to ask me any questions about the card, because I'm gonna be using this card on every stream going forward for the foreseeable future. So you'll be able to see it in action and see how well it performs. It's probably going to deliver really well, and I'm super excited. I cannot wait to plug this thing in and get started with it. So thank you so much for stopping by and checking out the video. If you liked it, be sure to hit that like button. It goes a long way in helping me out. And stay tuned for the next video. E-Rock out. You got him? He's dead?
Yeah, he's dead.
Jacking his junk.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
I didn't mean it like that. I thought about that as soon as I said it too, man. My goodness.